Well, let's talk about the black market because when you have a prices and wages that are fixed prices, guess what happens? You basically create an underground market. And in effect, that's what we got going on in the United States in some ways with the commodities and the precious metals. It's a good thing in some ways because you want the price to drop because people can afford different things. It isn't just that precious metals went down, coffee went down, crude oil went down, copper went down, the whole deal. It makes products more affordable. The thing is, I don't think it's reflecting reality of true price demand, true supply and demand. In other words, I don't really think it's due to actual fundamentals. If the economy is rosy, there should be more demand on commodities. And it's like the stock market's going up because the economy is rosy. That's not true. But I have to say this. In a way, what we have going on here is wage and price controls. Just like you would have in Russia, say, for instance, back before the reforms took place, or maybe they really didn't take place. In Russia, where the reforms took place, before that happened, you would have shortages. And it could be that we might actually have a shortage of gold and silver to be available for investment. That may come about. In the case of silver, it is a fairly good size between coins and ETFs. It's probably 20-something% that's invested. That's a fairly sizable amount. Now, I heard about the mine in the United States, that Tinto Rio or whatever it is, that went offline. It had a big cave-in or something. I don't know. But, that type of story may not put such a big dent in the whole global production. But what's actually going to put a big dent in is I think there's going to be a lot of buying pressure going on. It's a global economy now. Even if the Americans and Europeans don't buy up silver left and right, other people in Asia will. And as I pointed out, in Japan, actually gold has not taken as big a hit as people think, psychologically, the way it is in the United States in U.S. dollars. In Japan, like in U.S. dollars, gold got up to, I think it was 1921, back in very early September 2011. Now, in yen, that was one peak. Gold in U.S. dollars then dropped down and it went up to like 17 something or upper 1700s. See, in yen, it actually hit that same peak that it hit in September of 2011. So it's almost like if we were comparing what happened in yen to gold, if it was in dollars, it would be like saying it went to 1921 in early September 2011, retraced. And then later in 2011, it went, in early 2012, it went back up to 1921. It would be akin to saying this. And then it retraced a little bit. Then it broke through 1921. I know I'm not saying it did, but I mean, that's what it'd be like comparing it to if you were saying it was in yen. It went through 1921. It went well over 2000. And then it retraced to 1921 again. I mean, psychologically, that's exactly the picture that people who are dealing in yen that are in Japan are seeing. And then on top of that, you have news that the Bank of Japan is going to go into uncharted territory with QE and basically do 1.5 trillion in QE in yen. So actually, if you're an investor in Japan and you looked at the gold price, what it retreated to, you would think, buy it right there. Actually, what I thought was going to happen last summer in August, around August or July, was that gold was going to go a little bit below 1,500. Not because actually I thought so. Well, some of it was because I thought so because it had a double top and all that type of stuff. And it was going to do one final lower low. That's what Mark Farber said. It could possibly go below 1,500. It seemed crazy at the time because it was over 1,700. I guess it's hitting right now. But I'm not going to bet that it goes down to 1,200 or 1,300. I think they're freaking playing games big time. Because that's like wage and price controls. If they can actually manipulate that price down, there probably won't be the physical product available to buy. If they can actually get it down that low, if they can get silver down in like the low 20s or something like that, I don't think you're going to be able to get the coins for real. You know, that's one place. That's just be one time where Brother John F. would not be exaggerating. I know, like, he'll keep saying, like, you're going to run out of silver and stuff. He'll show with all these tables and stuff. I know that's not true, and it's not. And if silver goes up to like $400 an ounce, if it went up to some crazy price like that, they definitely find it someplace. I'll guarantee you they will. You'd be surprised they'll find it. But, you know, getting below where it is now, if it gets down to like 25 and 24 and stuff, they're not going to have the coins. You're really going to be like shortages for real. So in a way, I compare this to like wage and price controls. It's like there's going to be a black market for coins. Because in effect, that's what they're doing. We got like a little communist Marxist freaking organization here in New York called J.P. Morgan. It's setting the price on a lot of stuff. You know, even the oil prices don't make sense. But hey, you know, what really doesn't make sense is corn, agriculture prices in corn and things like that. Because with the severe shortages we have, I don't want to be too much drama here, but actually I think there's going to be food shortages. You know, between the bee colony collapses and, you know, that actually is global everywhere. But there's been a number of crop shortages in Russia, and in the United States it's been horrible because of the record drought we had since 1936. Yet all the prices are dropping. So, you know, that was one reason I was going to be putting out a video here later on, like after this stuff grows. I got my sprouting trays. I used them before, but I want to test out the stuff because I got a big, gigantic 5-gallon gallon pail of lentils, and I'm going to test it out. And I'm going to get some more and stuff like that if it works out good and stuff, and keep doing that because I think it's actually going to come to the situation where I probably will have to actually grow my own food because supermarkets may be bare. I don't, because I'm really putting out a common sense point here, not a drama point, because there's no reason all the commodities should be this low in price fundamentally, not just the precious metals, but also other things. If the economy's going up and the economy's strong, there should be more demand for aluminum, there should be more demand for copper, there should be more demand for zinc, there should be more demand for nickel. There should be more demand for oil, or more demand for natural gas. Everything across the board is going down. So it's artificial, and like I said, the only reason it's going up is because of QE. And I did point out why they're keeping QE going, because it's a way that they're actually getting something for nothing. They're getting real tangible assets, real estate and buildings and land and everything else for nothing. I explained that in another video, but that's why they're going to keep that up forever. But in effect, what we have here is wage and price controls. So there will be, you know, I know sometimes, you know, that's why sometimes you get annoyed with these real religious people. Brother John F. can be very extreme on some of his conspiratorial viewpoints, I think, in my opinion. But it's like, it's not all BS. I know there's like, there is conspiracies that do exist. Yeah. And, you know, it's like the physical supply of silver actually in the form of coins is actually going to get bottlenecked big time. And if this thing keeps dropping like this, it's like we're in a global market. So we're going into black market territory. And as a side note, I'm probably going to be producing some videos on how to make, it's probably going to take me a while to get this other thing. I'm getting stuff for guns, how to make, you know, the bottom part of the AR rifle. It's all legal. You're allowed to do it. I mean, you know, I checked it out. It's cool. So I'm getting like an 80% receiver, and I got the jigs. I just you know, did my credit card for that. Like I always pay my credit card every week. You know, so I got that on the way. That's going to be coming, and I got the drill press coming. So it's probably going to take me a little while to get the AR, but I'm probably going to do a little more investing on the guns and ammo. But you know, it's sort of like I have an interest in this stuff. It's like it's almost like golf, and it's interesting, almost like engineering, because there's a whole science behind it. It's almost like the same reason people even have an interest in mechanical things and cars and stuff, or whatever the hell it is. But yeah, I'm going to actually find it interesting if you can actually make one of those things. I think that would be pretty cool, and not from scratch, but you know, 80% finished and you finish the other 20%. So I'll probably be presenting some videos on that in the future. So a couple other things. I think that's going to be a smart investment. I think that's going to be a smart investment. Actually, the completed rifle, whatever, could be sold later. I'm not going to. I don't plan to, but it could be sold later if you know, you put the number on it and you, I don't know, maybe, I don't think you got to get a license or something. I'll probably have to check into that. I don't really plan to sell anything, but in long term, you know, if I happen to make a bunch of these or something like that, maybe I will. Maybe I will. Maybe it'll be worth big bucks. So it's a speculative bet, and I think, you know, this is another little gun I have. It's a little 22. I think people should invest in these things. They're pretty smart to have. And actually, a little 22 like this, I love shooting this thing. The sights were off a little bit. I had to put a notch in here so they line up. There's no way to adjust them. I had to put a little notch in here so I can say, oh, it goes over to this way. But, you know, shooting something like this, these are actually fun because you could shoot, you know, a bunch of, you know, 50 22s for a few bucks. And it's quite a bit, you know. It's for a few dollars. It's very cheap. So, but that might be an investment opportunity besides gold and silver at this time. Some of the guns and ammo. I mean, don't even think of it as, you know, we got to defend against tyranny and the New World Order and all that. I'm just saying, it's probably going to be a smart investment. It probably is. So that's the way I'm looking at it. So you might protect some of your finances by investing in that way, and I think I'm going to do that too. But I have an interest in it. So it's like, if you have absolutely no interest in guns and you don't like guns, you shouldn't invest in the way I'm talking about it. But if it's an interest of yours, like I have an interest in it, it'd be probably a pretty smart thing to do, because it'll, you know, they're just going to go up in value. They're going to go up in value. So it'd be smart. And what we're going to have here in the future looks like we just compared this price slam down in silver and gold, almost like wage and price controls. You know, you have the Federal Reserve in concert with the basically pumping up the stock markets and everything like that. And I want to add one thing here. You know, Bitcoins is a good reason to buy gold. Bitcoins is a good reason to buy gold. You know why? People are buying Bitcoins because, even people that don't even buy gold, the people are buying Bitcoins because they don't feel safe in the currencies that are out there today, any of them. So they're looking for an alternative. And actually, the alternative does exist. It's called gold and silver. Gold and silver. Actually, silver is included in that too. Silver, although it's not exactly money, it'll work as money in the future because it's very easily to trade silver for something of value. It can work. And, you know, the fact that people have an interest in Bitcoins, I would not invest in Bitcoins. But, I mean, yeah, if you made out like a fat rat and you bought it at like $2 a Bitcoin, you sold it for 200, yeah, that would be smart. But there's a lot of people that got burned on the other side. But people, if people who invest are looking at Bitcoins, it's a proof that there's a lot of dissatisfaction and mistrust of the fiat money system. So that is another indication that gold is actually a good safe haven. It really is. Because there's a lot of people out there just don't know where to run. And people are running to the dollar right now because that's been the traditional safe haven. But it's all psychological. It's all psychological. So just beware that we probably will have shortages coming up. And black market prices coming up on precious metals, because now it's getting down into territory where there really could be a bottleneck where there's not going to be enough coins available of the kind that people want to invest in. I think that's going to actually come to reality.